Happy Wednesday, part 2 here with Kay. Kay, what do you got going on?
What's up, Dennis? What's up? Just the normal day in the life of land. The I think I had 2 or 3 deals this week. Stressed me out because there's like decent amount of spread, and they're like, it's in play, it's out of play, it's in play, it's out of play.
I know. I'm dealing with that right now. I have a property that we're trying to move, and it's like a 300 grand spread. And
Nice.
I have the buyer. He's right there. He's ready to go. And then the seller knows that somebody else is buying it because it didn't work out what we were going to do with it. He knows it, but there's a leasing on the property right now. And the lease is a ground lease for cattle and all that stuff. This guy is like, no, I need to break that lease and I need the guy out in 2 weeks. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. He's got 6 months left on his contract. So I'm like back and forth. And the guy's like, and if he cuts any hay, I'm done. I'm canceling the deal. I was like, I can't, I'm trying, but dude, I can't. One, I don't have contacted leasing. I have to go to the seller, tell the seller to call the leasing. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I have a contract sitting in my email to sign. And it's, it's buy for $1.5 million, sell for 1.5. So it's like a really good deal. I can't do anything. I'm like so stuck. The guy's like, I'll give you 3 days to get a signed agreement from the leasee saying he's going to vacate within 2 weeks. He's got 20 head of cattle. He's got harvesters sitting there for the hay right now, like literally on the property. He's going to do it this weekend. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do. I'm like so stuck here. So this is what we do.
It's got to be something in the middle you can do. Like, it's got to be something,
right.
People are reasonable most of the time at the end of the day. I know. Today, lady emailed us. She's like, we're out of our 90-day due diligence period. And we're like, hey, we need to come down like $7 grand because we got to, clear it and stuff. And, sometimes double closes, they turn into just buys because you get the feel for the market. It's a good deal. You just haven't really put a lot of attention to it.
Yep.
And I'm just like, hey, we'll give you 25 instead of like 30, whatever for it. And she writes back and she's a lender, right? She's a mortgage lender. She has like this huge signature with all these certifications and stuff. And she's just emailing. She's like, I even gave you Monday. That is over a day. She's like, I'm going to get a lawsuit. You have to buy this. It says in 7 days after 9 days, you have to buy it. And send her. We look at the contract. We send her the contract. It's 90 business days. It's written in the contract. I said, we're only at 65 days, right? You come back super, super sugary sweet. Yeah. And we're just like, hey, but because you're talking about lawsuits, if you don't want to work with us anymore, we understand. Like, we'll gladly just terminate the agreement. But this is what we can do. Different tone in the email coming back. She's just like, oh, that's a little deceiving where it's written. It's a 1-page purchase agreement. It's literally 1 page.
Yeah. Like, I put the same thing. So I guess you could call it deceiving, right? Because my contract, it says, 90 days due diligence, blah, blah, blah. Then later on, because there is a couple references of days inside the contract. So I said in the contract later on, another line, it says any reference to days is business days, whatever it says, right?
Unless otherwise, yeah.
Right. And so basically, like, that's what we put in there. Because I don't want to have to say, like every single time I write days, it's like 90 business days, 90 that days, 20.
Yeah. And it kind of highlights the business. And what we do is that we put that in there. But now what we're going to do, because we don't keep track, we need to put on our calendars, like when that 90 business days is up on the customer's calendar and just so we're like keeping it in front of us, because sometimes it's not in front of us. So.
What we just started using is we're using like ChatGPT, like the pro version, to keep track of our deals and stuff like that. So what I've been doing is every time we get any kind of contract deal, I upload it, throw it in there. It has a link to my Google Drive. Everything's linked on there. And then what we do is we'll say, all right, we just had a conversation with X, Y, and Z person. This is where we're at. Here's all this stuff. Remember all this, boom, whatever. So you could just ask it every week, hey, what contracts are coming due in the next 30 days? And it'll pull up all that information. All right, you got X, Y, these 5 that are coming due in the next 30 days. Okay, cool. Use it as like a third brain in a way.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like remember things and, all that stuff. So it might be helpful. I mean, also, I guess just writing it down on your thing. And
the CRM is good. Whiteboard is even more helpful. But these were like earlier deals. And my underwriting skills weren't that great. But they're still good deals. You know,
Mhm.
kind of talk them down a little bit on price. And usually when they're with you on the journey for that long, they're like, all right,
Yeah.
yeah.
I got a question for you, and a lot of people get like, I don't know how they feel about this, but retrading on double closes when you already have a buyer. Do you ever do that?
What do you mean?
Okay, so I have a guy I talk to, and he goes, I retrade on every single double close I do once I have a buyer. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, I go back to the seller and I'm like, hey, look, we're good to close. We're going to close in the next 15 days. I just need a $5,000 price reduction and we're good to go. And he'll come and retrade a little bit and then get an extra couple bucks and then go and like whatever. Because now the buyer's like, all right, well, they're going to move forward in the next whatever. I guess I'll
Yeah.
just do it. I don't love the idea, but
I
he's like,
know
I make
it's
20.
kind of cringy. I save it for when I have to. We literally had to do that this week, and it will simply be it was a big haircut. It was $30,000 haircut. Like the purchase price was like 140, and we came back and we're like, we only could do 110, you know. And now, anyway, I'm not gonna go into the super details of it, but you know, as long as you go back and you explain why.
Mhm,
Like I try to keep the price the same, but if we can't make it work because we
mhm.
found out now we have to do an engineered septic tank, right? Or now this part of it's 19 acres of unusable land out of 40, right? We're not paying price per acre the same on that stuff. But
No,
as long as you can articulate that,
right.
like we
Yeah.
articulate it in a way like here's the survey we did, here's the whatever from the soil scientist, here's this, and this is how we came up with our pricing, right? And so as long as you can do that, it doesn't come off like crappy, in my opinion, and it's legit. But I don't like getting to the ninth hour and trying to switch up numbers. It's
No,
just it's
it's crazy.
stressful. It's
I don't.
stressful.
No, I don't do it. I don't do it like as a practice because if I commit to a price, it's when I commit to it, unless something like crazy happens. But he's like, yeah, 20% of my profit, like all my profits in my business, my revenue comes from that retrading.
No,
Like
I know people
offline, I'm
who
like,
do it.
damn,
I was
okay,
listening to a podcast and these guys in wholesale, they used to do it. And I think it's kind of shitty because it's like, people have already spent this money in their head,
yes,
especially when you're like 2 or 3 days from closing. So it's a very, very, very sensitive time period, right? And so unfortunately, that you can go in there and change up things, and they'll probably still close,
yeah,
But I don't think you should do that unless you have to do that.
yeah. I don't love it. It's just I was
Yeah.
like kind of blown away when he said that. I was like, damn, that's kind of not 20%. That's a lot.
No, it's a lot. And to be
Huge
honest
number.
with you, after I did it and they agreed to the lower price, I was like, damn,
It was easy.
okay. Yeah, but it made me feel really cringy, to be
Yeah,
honest with you. I'm like,
I agree.
ah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so guys, everyone, we're gonna do market selection today and talk about pricing today. And what else are we talking about? So market selection, pricing,
Mail template,
a mail template, and we're
direct
gonna go
mail.
over how direct mail, the way the way K's look, the way mine kind of looks, things like that. So we'll kind of just compare the two. K's is more refined than mine, I'll tell you that. We just had a major mail mess up too, and I'm kind of annoyed. Our merge fields got messed up in a bunch of our data sets, and like we mailed the price to the wrong APN to the wrong mail ID. I don't know how it happened, but like I don't know if it was a whole data set or just a few got messed up. I'm like so pissed right now.
Did you find that out after you sent the file to Rocket Print?
Oh, it's already hitting mailboxes.
Oh,
Yeah, I just got a letter saying my partner was like, hey, what happened? There's a letter. It's like your 0.22 acre property in Rowan County, North Carolina. And then the mail ID is like something Arizona or whatever. I'm like, what happened? And like we only mailed 5+ acres in North Carolina.
how
I'm
big
like,
was the list?
oh, like 7,000 or 8,000.
Oh, it's
So,
big. You mailed
yeah,
a big. I was about to say you can send some, hey, oopsie letters, right? And
yeah,
it'll make you feel human. It'll make you look really, really human. But
yeah.
8,000 is a lot. Yeah,
That's a big
that's
oopsie.
a lot.
That's a $5,000 oopsie.
Yeah,
Another
that's a very expensive
$5,000
oopsie.
mistake last week. Now another $5,000 mistake this week. Yeah.
You're expensive. Damn it.
Yeah. You know what it was? It was a VA who just quit on me, which she was like my lifeblood. And she just randomly quit. It was weird. It was her last thing she did before she left. So I doubt she looked at it and just sent it. Oh, well.
Hate that.
Anyways,
Yeah.
let's get to the good stuff. So let's talk about pricing, so our market selection. So number one, market selection, like the main parameters we're really looking for is there a little bit of activity happening in the market? Are there actual comps being sold? And is it the type of land you want to market to that's being sold, right? Because if you're looking for a rural rec and you go into a market and everything is like a quarter acre lot, well, obviously that's not a comp. So that's not going to help you at all for your market selection, right?
Yep.
You want to make sure you're picking the right markets with the type of land in mind. So we're going to focus on rural rec here today. And what that basically means is 4 acres and up, or you can do 3 acres and up, whatever the case may be. I typically do like 4 acres and up or 5 acres and up. Not that that extra acre doesn't really make that much of a difference, but what state do we want to go to today?
Do we want to put one of my Carolinas on the map?
I know. I'm looking at Carolina. I'm looking at we could do Texas, Carolinas. We could do let's do or Tennessee. You want to do Tennessee?
Yeah, let's do Tennessee.
Okay, let's do Tennessee. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Where we at? There we go. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do, we're on Land Insights. So this just makes it easy. We're gonna show you a quick way how to do this as well, like if you don't have Land Insights. But Land Insights just literally speeds the process up by like 100-fold. So
yep.
There's multiple ways you could do this. You could just go 5 to 10 acres, look at that, or you could go the 5 to 100s, look at that, whatever you want to do. I'm going to go 5 to 100. I just want to see what the total market looks like. And then we're going to just look at a county today because we're not going to go full deep into the pricing. But what we're going to do, you can change your heat map to, you can change your heat map to all different things. If you want to see it sold 6 months, STR rate for 6 months, whatever you want to look at, right? So I'm going to do 1 year STR as the heat map. All right, so just pointing at these yellows are my hotter ones, meaning it's got a higher sell-through rate. That's basically the active compared to sold. So what we can do here is we go in here. There's different parameters you could do. I like to do greater than or equal to. This is like Sumner's bread and butter, 25 active. So we'll just do Sumner's kind of thing, 25 active. And or less than or equal to 250 active. So we want some activity, meaning there's enough action to play in, but not so much any more than 250 listed. Like you're way out of the ballpark. It's way too hot. That's like a Florida market right there. So you want to stay away from that. Solds, we really want to make sure that you definitely have a lot of good comps. So, I mean, this is subjective, but I typically do at least 25 sold comps in the last year. Greater than or equal to 25. And this is just all you're doing. This is not like, oh, this is the exact parameters I'm going to use to pick a market. No, this is like one of 1,000 different ways. This is just one of like the most basic ways you could start. We're going to do STRs. We're going to do, let's go here. Let's go greater than or equal to. 3-month STR, I want to see at least 25%. The 6-month STR, I want to do greater than or equal to 75%. And the 1 year STR, I want to see greater than or equal to at least 100%. That means the total market is turning over every single year. Okay. So that's your basic parameters. You could do days on market if you wanted. Like I'll say, let's go average days on market. 1 year. The reason why there's a 6-month and a 1 year, the 6-month is going to be sooner data, right? So this is actually like more recent, obviously. So you could see trends. Like you could see like a year ago it was 129, but now it's 178. So what that indicates is like a slowing of a market. So I'm going to set the parameters on the 1 year and then take a look at the days on market here for the other one. But I'm going to also show you guys the pending, how I do with pending. So I'm going to go greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. I'm going to just do 220. Okay, cool. So that breaks it down. So you could see here, like I actually don't have a lot even in Tennessee to kind of mess with, right? I have Lincoln, I have Houston, that's Arkansas, that's Georgia. So like the only ones that really fit these parameters are Surrey County, Person County, Warren County, Franklin County. That actually like kind of fits it on a high level. That doesn't mean, I'm sorry. Let me reframe that. All these fit. It's just that these are the highest and the hottest, basically. So if we zoom out to the whole country, you can see there's a bunch of different ones that fit. Right down here, we have like quite a few. So let's do this. I'm going to sort. We're going to sort this by, instead of going like the 1 year, I'm going to go 3 month STR. I want to look at which one's got the best 3 month. So Butler County has a crap ton, but it's got sold 104. Let's go to that. Let's just take a look at what Butler County is. So I'll go in here. I'll go to Butler County. Like I'll just go on Redfin.
And guys, if anyone has questions related to market selection, please drop them in the chat so we can answer them.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Yeah, we wanna hear you guys. Like, hey Che, okay. Yeah, we want to hear what you guys have to say. We want to hear everything about this. Like, we're not just here to just, show you everything. We're actually here to kind of like answer any questions you got. All right, so I'm gonna go here, land, done, filters. I want to do lot size. Let's do 4 acres plus. Just see what we got going on. All right, so I got nothing. I only got a couple on here. So it's only showing 5 in the last year. But when we look at this on Land Insights, it shows 104, 104. So something's wrong with this data set. See how it's showing 104, 104, 104, 105? Something's wrong here, right? That's not true. There's only 5. So that one.
Did you put a filter on the size, Dennis and Redfin?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. Your mic is loud today. Your new mic.
Yeah, I know. It's my new toy. Sorry, don't know how to turn the volume down yet. I have to deal with my loudness.
Automatically adjust mic volume. I can turn it down here. Try now. Try speaking now.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I adjusted you could adjust it on your thing.
Okay.
It was automatic. You could automatic. It was on automatic. I just adjusted it down a little bit. I remember the first time I using mine, people were like, "Can you stop screaming into your mic?" I'm like, "I'm just whispering."
I know. I did a few test Zoom calls. So
yeah, new toys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's go. Wisconsin looks pretty good. That's got a good STR right now on the 6 month, or I'm sorry, the 3 month. You got Person, you got Franklin, you got Hampshire County. Let's check out Hampshire County. Hampshire County, WV. Okay, Hampshire County. See, that's what we want to see. See how much activity there is here? Like, a lot's been happening.
Yeah, a ton.
Yeah. Can you do market selection for the state of Texas? Well, I mean, hey, Coach Dave, we kind of are. Like, if you look at this, we're on Land Insights. Like, we're actually filtering everything. With my filters, there's nothing that shows up for Texas at all. So, like, my parameters are not working in Texas. And Texas says, I will say, Texas has slowed down a little bit with land. It still is crushing, but it's just slowed down in different senses. Okay, cool. So here we are, West Virginia, tons of data, tons of recent sales, all that stuff in the last year. Definitely something you want to see. You could come into here. You go, okay, let's just check the 4 to 10s. Let's see what we got going on here. There's 71 in the 4 to 10 range. Tons of activity. We check here. You got the 10s and 20s, about 17. Still good numbers. Above that, you got 34, the 20 to 40 acres. So that tells me like people want more of that 20 to 40 acre than they want the 10 acre, right? Let's check higher bands. And the bigger ones, you only got 4. Okay. So I'll look at this too. I'll come over here. I'm going to look at, now that I know, like, okay, there's demand in this 20 to 40 acre range. I want us to come over here and just take a look at these. Let's see what this kind of property was. 20 acres unrestricted. This just sold May 12th. So really good comp. This is brand new. I'll come in here. I want to look at this right here. See listed, 200,000. And I want contingent in like 20 days. That's huge, right? You put a property on the market and boom, in 20 days, it's
That's
contingent.
what we see. Yeah.
That's it. That's what you want. Like, you want to look for markets that have this type of stuff happening, because if you see like April 9th, 2024, and it took almost like 7 months, 8 months to go under contract, like that's a long time.
And
Yeah.
and I just want to say that that is why it's so important to focus on market selection initially, right? Once you figure out, am I going to do mail? Am I going to do text message? Am I going to do cold calling? Whatever you choose, market selection is so important, because we
Yeah.
all know, who's ever done a deal, it takes some effort to get that deal to the finish line, and you don't want to buy something and then it sits for 6 months,
Yep.
7 months, 8 months. Like, that is so discouraging. So that's why market selection is so important, that once you figure out, when you get started in this business, what type of marketing channel you're going to utilize for your business, then you want to figure out, okay, what markets am I going to work in? And I highly, highly suggest that you pick a handful of markets, meaning a handful of states that for some reason or another you're familiar with, right? Maybe you grew up there, maybe it's your backyard, right? Maybe it's close to you. Maybe you have property there yourself. You want something that speaks to you, whatever, and make sure it's investor friendly. That makes it a little easier to price things and to handle your operations. But pick a few states and then zone in and figure out what looks good in your markets, because what looks good in Texas isn't going to necessarily look good in South Carolina. Very, very different. So
exactly.
just want to
Like,
say that
the parameters I just set now, they didn't work for Texas, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work in Texas. Like, that doesn't mean you can't
Right.
put land in Texas. It's just that these like general, very easy, like beginner's luck kind of like counties, that's kind of what this filter is. That's where you're going to find, like, it's just not available in Texas, right? But take a look at this. September 2nd literally went pending same day, and it sold 10 days, like 15 days later. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the realtor you want.
yeah, that's exactly it. Then you call those realtors and boom.
Yeah.
But you could tell the demand for 20 acres in this county is outstanding. Look at this. This is 45 days, 40 days, whatever it is, soup to nuts in 2 months. That's fantastic. That's really, really
Yeah.
good. And
That's
it's pretty
great.
close to the list too, not terribly off. So, like, you're in a pretty good spot. So you want
What
to
are
God.
I know we're going to talk about pricing later. And I saw in the messaging about zip code, about pricing, and then zip code market selection. I'll do that. Yes, later in the video. What are you noticing, Dennis, from your list price to your actual, like, what you end up selling it for? What percentage? I'm seeing about, like, if we listed, we probably end up selling our stuff for about between 15 and 20% less than what we listed for. And that's kind of what we expect. Just curious to know what you're seeing from the price you put on the market when you
It's
list it.
usually about 5 to 10.
Okay.
Because I'm typically already listing it 5% under market anyways.
Okay.
So essentially it's like 15%. So we're probably at the same number. So if I listed at market, I'd probably end up closing like 15% under. But which is kind of weird if you think about it. Market price is like, that's market price. Why is it not selling for market price, right?
Everyone wants to feel like they're getting a deal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the realtor's job to, like, talk everyone down.
Yeah, exactly. So here's like a quick and dirty way. If you don't have land insights, I'll just show you real quick to find out, like, if a county is homogenous or whatever the case may be. So I like to just, here's the map very quickly, like, take a look at this. You can see, like, I got a 97K up here. I'm going to check down here. So this is I want to see how big this one is. 5 acres. This is about 10K an acre. So let's go up here. So if this is a 10 acre, what does that tell you? It's about 8K an acre right there. So I'm sorry, the other one was 10K an acre. So they're about pretty dang close.
87,
This was, 5-acre property sold for 55K. That's 10K an acre, right? Same thing up here. Let's check this 26. This is probably 5K an acre right here. 7K. Okay. Well, that's the estimate. Why did they change that? Did they change that? It's pulling the estimate, not the sold.
I noted. So I use Zillow. I don't
Yeah.
like Redfin. I don't like how it looks.
Yeah.
Because I notice it does that. It'll be a sold, but then it'll put like their estimate there, even though
Yeah.
it's already a sold and it's sold for something else. Yeah. So
Yeah. So that was like 5K an acre. And then I'll go down here or I'll go over here, check out another one. This is, that's the estimate, but this sold for 45K, 5 acres. That's sold for 8K an acre. Okay. So it's not like perfectly homogenous, but you know what? I'll tell you what, you probably, if you're going to send, here's like another 5, so for 38, that's, what is that? Math
I'm,
is happening.
I'm gonna need you to download the Pebble extension
I
and
had
use
it.
it.
I used to have it. Does it work again? Because I didn't know if it stopped
Yeah,
working.
yeah. It works. I toggle between the Land Insights and the Pebble one. That way you
Okay.
can see the price per acre really quickly.
Yeah. You know
So
what?
I'm no good with doing all that math. I'm just
I got spoiled. I got spoiled because Redfin used to not do the estimate per acre. It used to be based off the sale.
Oh, I didn't even
And they,
know Redfin had that. Yeah.
yeah, they changed it. I'm just looking at that now. I'm like, that's wrong. So that's interesting. So yeah, I guess I got to get re-download. The only thing is I use Safari mostly, so I have to start using Chrome, and I hate Chrome. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, so you could tell like this county's pretty homogenous. Now let's check Land Insights to see what they say. So Hampshire County right here. We're gonna check the Genie. Where are we at? This is Hampshire. We have a Genie. It's pretty tight. I mean, also, but I'm on a
A wide range.
Yes, I'm on a wide range. So you got to go to small bands, like 5 to 10 acres, and then check it. Oh, so it's not even showing up now with my parameters. But that's the one way you could tell. Like you check out. Let's check the 20 to 40s. Yeah, it's not even coming up. Okay. So anyways, yeah, Hampshire County, I think it's slightly homogenous. You probably have to do a little, oh, what the heck? That wasn't New Hampshire County. That's so weird. It's definitely slightly homogenous. You're going to have to do a little bit of work on pricing it, but it's not bad. This is probably like a great beginner's market, to be honest with you. Even though I've tried milling this one and I never had success here. I don't know why. All of West Virginia has just been, no success for me at all. So it is what it is, but I know a lot of people that are crushing it here. I will say though, mountainous areas are very tough to price and buy.
I love them.
If you could price them right, yes, you're going to crush it.
Yeah.
Yep. That's really what it is. Or if you're sending range offers, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I only love them because I know every investor has trained their VA to scrub them out. And that's how I think about marketing, right? I'm like, what are the masses doing? So I can kind of do the opposite, right? Not with everything, but with market selection. And it makes sense. Everyone's scared of mountains. Everyone's scared of bad topo. Everyone's scared of flood zones. There you go. If you can get in areas that prove to you that there is activity, there is demand, and you can price it right, you are golden, because those people are not receiving as much marketing material as the easy, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee kind of flat, that prestigious piece of land that everyone is going after, right? And so they know what their stuff is worth. But if someone's not getting that much marketing, like it's easy to kind of go in there and do business.
Yep, absolutely, I agree. It's like you're basically going to the people that aren't getting as hit, like that's what you want to do. Like I kind of do a similar thing when I look at, I might not go for something like this parameter, the 25 to 250, all that stuff. I might just go into a market and say, okay, where is there demand and where is there no supply? Let's go find out how fast things are going pending in markets, pick those markets, and then go ahead and just go for it, because there's nothing on the market. There's no supply. So I'm going to bring the supply. There's tons of demand because stuff is going pending in days.
Right.
But also at the same note, a lot of people might not be selling their property for a specific reason, maybe because they know something's happening in that county, and that's why there's no supply. So you could get burned by going that way. So I don't suggest that for new people.
Yeah, new people. Yeah,
no.
Don't do
Or
that.
people that are like restarting themselves. I don't suggest that at all. Okay, so yeah, that's basically like high level, very easy market selection. That's kind of what you would do. If you're going to do the same thing for, let's say, like if you're going to do this manually, you totally could do that. All you're going to do is go Hampshire County. You're going to go land. You're going to go,
It's a lot of work, though. It's a
it's
a lot of. You can do it without land insights, but it is a lot of work. Yeah.
It's time consuming. So I'm going to go like 3, 5, 10, whatever I'm going to do. I'm going to, see all 112. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go ahead and boom, download all. Allow. I download that data. And then what I do is I just put it on a spreadsheet and I go, how many are active? Okay. I look at this little button right here. And I'm like, okay, I download that. And then I just go for sale. How many are active? Currently, there's 39 active. I type that into a spreadsheet. How many are under contract? Okay, there's a ton under contract. Wow, holy crap, there actually is a ton under contract.
Surprising.
15 under contract. It's crazy. So then I would put that in as a little, in my data set. And then I would go, okay, now let's go here. Let's go sold. Let's go check the last month. How many have sold in the last month? All right, there's 12. How many in the last 3 months? 35. Boom. And I just do that for the whole data set. Boom. That's it. It's literally that simple. I have all my sold data already, so I can price it. And then I have all right here, how many homes. And then I could just basically take that, put that into a spreadsheet, do some calculations. How many properties have, how many properties are, like sold divided by how many properties are active, and just get yourself the rate. Very, very simple math. So you would do that and then go through like every county in West Virginia or every county in Tennessee, whatever the case may be. And that's pretty much it. It's not hard. It's just extremely time consuming and you have to constantly update that. This is
tedious.
Yeah. I had a VA doing it. It was like $2,000 a month I was spending on the VA to do that and like constantly keep it updated, and they would make mistakes and it was wrong. So $500 for land insights, it's like a freaking no-brainer. Like, why would I bother doing it any other way? So, all right, I'll let you take it from here now. You go over like your market selection. So
yeah, definitely.
Do you want to share screen or do you want me to just?
I can share because I already have like my stuff saved.
Okay, cool. Yeah, do your thing. Yeah, that's the other thing too. You could go here. You could save your filters. So I could reset. And then apply a filter if I wanted. And like this way, you're good to go. Like you could just go here, save filters, select, open filter, boom, and you don't even have to put anything in. There's your filter. Yep. It's like then every month you just go back in, do the same thing, open the filter, check it out. So it's friggin' slick.
Okay, I'm nervous to share my screen. I don't want anything crazy popping up.
Well, it'll show up on the bottom first, and then you could add to present.
All right, here we go. All right, let's see. All right, cool. All right, can you see my screen?
I see it on the bottom. Want to add the stage?
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
Good. Okay. All right. Perfect. So I have a little bit of a different approach, and like Dennis said, there's a million ways to do this. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. You just need to figure out what works for you. And when you join Land Insights, you're not flying by yourself. There's a whole course and curriculum that they have for you to kind of go through, and then you have a huge support team behind you. So I know for people coming into land and maybe they've never done real estate or anything like that, a lot of this can seem overwhelming, right? Days on market, sell-through rate, how homogenous something is. Because I know when I first started, I'm like, how homogenous, like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? But this tool is extremely, extremely helpful. And it helps, even if you're new, it really, really helps with that learning curve because you're able to X out markets that are not great a lot quicker instead of spending a month with your VA scrubbing all the data, right? And then finding out, and after you send mail, that's not great. You can kind of do that really, really quickly. And so, and get your time back, right? And find markets that do work. So I typically have my ranges that I work in, and I'll do, 1 to 2 acres, 2 to 5 acres, 5 to 10 acres, 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40, and I like 40 to 100. So let's just do 10 to 20. And I like to go over to the zip code immediately. Um, I don't look at the county, and I don't quite put any filters in yet, because sometimes you can kill yourself by putting too many filters in before you understand the market you're looking at. Okay, so let's just say let's just go South Carolina. So if I'm working, and you can put 2 states in here. So let's put South Carolina and North Carolina. All right, we're going to hit apply. Well, that's not good. Hold on. Oh, or South Carolina, or. Okay. All right. And so this way, you're only looking at 2 states, right? Everything else is X'd out. So I only want to see 2 states, and I'm looking at every single zip code in the state. And that's like, okay, that's a lot, right? So we want to take a look and say, okay, sold in 1 year, the most is 44 here, and that's in Cherokee County in North Carolina. Take a look here. So zip codes are smaller than counties. And so maybe at a county level, you may want to see 25, 30, 50 sold in the last year. When you're looking at a zip code, you really don't need that many. You can go as low as 4 or 5, especially when you're looking at large, expensive acreage ranges, right? They are often not selling a ton of them. There's not a whole lot of volume of them, right? So we're looking at the 10 and 20 acre range. I would feel comfortable just knowing North and South Carolina to pick a good market. I will probably put 5, right? And I know that seems low. So greater than or equal to 5. So that's going to automatically kill and take out anything that has 0 sold in the last year, that, anything 0 to 4, it's going to take it out the picture. I at least like to see 100%, but if I'm like, I'm gonna do this as if I am about to send very expensive mail, right? So that's how I'm going to put the filters in today with the time that we have. And so for 1 year, I am going to put 300 at least STR. Okay. And over on days on market, and I know it sounds a little crazy, but I'm going to put something like 80 days on market average for the past year. And what that lets me see, less than or equal to, because I really, really want to get my list down. Let's just put 99 so we get a little bit more. Like, this is exactly what I want to see. I don't want to see a lot. I want to see what's moving fast, right? And where there's low demand. And you automatically see that in the active column, there's 0 to 1, which means there's no inventory. But the fact that 7 sold, and when we know Lancaster is a good area, 7 sold in the past year, and the average days on market was 57. Like, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
The average days on market is 64 for Craven County, North Carolina, right? The average days on market here, 60, right? And even the stuff that's sold in the last 6 months, we have 60, 65, 106. Last 3 months, 91, 54, 64, right? And one may look at this and say, oh, there's not enough
right
activity.
back, okay? Sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. There's not enough activity. But what these numbers represent in these areas, that there is a very high demand. You can tell by the sell-through rate, there's a very high demand. You can also tell by looking at how fast the market is moving, how fast this inventory is moving off the market, right? And there's nothing active. So we know that there is a supply issue. And what we want to come do is we want to provide that supply, right? Because we know there's already demand there. And that is kind of like a sniper method that you can utilize, especially when you're okay spending more money on your marketing, but you just want to make sure like you're hitting the shots on goal that you want, right? So that is how I do kind of zip code pricing. And I'll look in here to see if there's any questions. Okay, no, nothing there. Okay. And you can see with Land Insights, the median sold acreage here. We have 11, 13, 15, 11. And then the median sold price per acre. So if you want to stay in a certain price range, you can kind of, multiply the median sold price per acre by the acreage range. And that gives you kind of a rough idea of what that stuff is selling for in that market. And you can open up Zillow and kind of, see what actually is selling, see what kind of land is selling in that area. Like if we go to, we can go to zip code 29058, which is in South Carolina. What was that zip code? All right, so we want to go sold. Make sure vacant land is there. We'll make sure our filters are good. We want to say past 12 months. And we were in the 10 to 20, I believe. Right. And those are sold property. So you can take a look over here, and on the right side, I know Dennis was doing like the calculations and all that good stuff. You can download a Pebble or Land Insights pricing tool. I use Chrome. I think this is Chrome. Yeah. And it really helps. So we can just look really quick and see, okay, 7,750. It's the price per acre for this one. This one sold at 87.52. This one sold at 81.44. So at a glance, you can see how freaking homogenous this area is, right? You don't have to do the math. You can see how much people are paying price per acre and kind of the type of land that is selling. You can look at your competition. You can kind of see if they're like, this is a crappy listing right here. Someone took a picture of the screen with their cell phone, but it's still sold. It's still sold for $7,500 an acre. Yeah, not the best listing, but it's still sold, and it sold very fast. So when crappy listings are even selling, you really know it's a good area. And so that's how you kind of sniper an area to figure out, okay, lots of demand, stuff is moving really fast in that market in this acreage range, right? 10 to 20. And there's really not a lot of supply. So go and make that supply, right? That's why we look at data. That's why data is so important. And that's where you can spin up a campaign. You can spend a little bit more and be a little bit more creative with your marketing. You can put that first class stamp on there. You can pay for the color 2-page from Rocket Print because you're going to get a better response rate. And you're hitting the area that you're going to be able to dispo very quickly. And for me, that's important. Some people like to work in areas that are not as hot because it's easy to acquire land, right? It's going to be a little bit easier to buy it, but it's going to sit on the market on the dispo side a little bit longer. I prefer the opposite. I don't mind that it's a little harder to acquire the land because I know it's going to sell really, really quickly. And it's all about cash conversion cycle, right? We want to shorten that as much as we can.
Uline just dropped off an entire pallet in my front of my house, and it's raining. So I'm like, great.
For the cleaning company?
No, for my wife's business.
Oh, okay, okay. Cookie company.
Yeah, we run four businesses out of my house, so it's like random deliveries and shipments. It's nuts.
That's great. It's great.
You think so?
Okay.
It says screen is frozen on Land Insights. Are you only sharing your screen like one?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I think I was talking and I was on Zillow.
Yeah.
But are you able to see my Zillow screen right now?
No, I think you're just sharing the one not the whole. You're sharing. Just the,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Sorry. All right. Can you see the Zillow screen now?
Yeah. Yep.
All
We're good.
right. Tech challenge.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Get my new equipment. Don't know how to act.
Coach
I'm sitting
Dave
here
asked,
rambling about Zillow, but really quick recap, guys. On this side here, I was saying about the extensions, how easy and quickly it is to see the price per acre without doing the math. 87.52, 77.50, 81.44. That one's a little bit low. 59.46, 87.50. And this is the price per acre, right? So the extension is going to automatically do that for you. So you're not having to do the math. And you can tell, you can look at this and say, okay, that's pretty homogeneous, right? Besides that one for 59.46 an acre. And we can probably click in that and kind of see if there was an issue. Maybe there was an easement instead of real physical access or legal access, something like that.
Looks like it has pretty rough slope, to be honest with you, the way it's kind of shaped.
At least they did good drone photos.
Yeah. Oh, is that? It looks like there's a utility easement.
Utility easement. Yeah. Yep. There we go. Yep. And even so, it sold super quick, right? February 6th, it was listed. March 24th, it sold, right? So this is a very targeted zip code that you would market to. Now, it is going to be hard to acquire a property from this area. But like I said, you're going to be able to dispo it very, very quickly because it's such a high demand and it's such low supply.
Yep.
And so that's why data is so important. That is why I really advise against just picking a whole county and mailing it because you're wasting a lot of money. You're wasting a lot of time. We all know how it is to get calls and be on the phone with folks and you look at the land and it's just shit, right? and like, so like save yourself the time, do good market selection, and then after that, do good scrubbing and then pricing, right? And then, so this leads us into pricing, which Dennis, you can kind of go over high level. You've done many videos on pricing. If folks want to go into detail with that, yeah.
Yeah, I'll show real quick on my screen. Basically how to do like a quick pricing. So I'm gonna go like super quick because I literally just did a video of this last week. A bunch of people inside Discord were chatting about like how I used average versus median. And
Yep.
honestly, you could use either one if you're scrubbing your data set, right? Because if you just hit median, that's perfectly fine. You don't really even have to scrub. But honestly, I'm still going to scrub. So like if you used average or median, it's going to come out the same number, realistically. So
Yep.
Especially if you have a lot of comps too. The more comps you have, the better the average gets, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would say this really quick with the median. It is important, if in my head, when I think of medium, I think of, okay, the crazy outliers are going to be on the right and left side. The really low, crappy land that got listed and the really high waterfront land that got listed. And so when I'm looking at like comps and things like that, I'm like, okay, median is great to use because that's going to give you the price point that excludes those one-offs. So you don't have to worry about that. And so that's why I like to use the median. Yeah, I think it's a little bit more accurate.
It definitely is. If you're going to actually scrub it, like I go line by line and look at every comp. I see why it sold for whatever, because one, it's going to teach me the market a little bit better when those calls come in. So I'll go line by line. I'll read each listing. I'll check them out, find out what it looks like, everything, because I want to make sure it's going to be a good property or whatever the case may be, right? Or like a market. So I'll look at them all and then I'll delete the comps that are bad. So okay, so here I'm going to go here. I downloaded that list before for West Virginia. Here it is right here. So quickly you upload it, replace current sheet, import data. And very simply, like here's all the data. Like that's it. You're done. It's easy. So I'm just going to delete some of these columns that you don't really need. Beds and baths. So I delete this line. I don't know. They started adding that a few months ago. So I'm going to call this acres. And I'm going to call this price per acre. So what happens is they don't give you the lot size in in acres, it's square foot. So you got to go equals lot size divided by 43,560. So that's going to give you the acres. And then I'm going to just take that down.
And 43,560, it is a number burned in my skull because when you're getting your real estate license, that number, they're like, you need to know how many square feet are in an acre, so it is like in my brain.
Exactly. You just like, it's instilled in you at this point.
Yeah.
And when you're doing this, you just start typing 43,560. It's like,
43,560, 43,560.
Yeah, it's so easy once you start getting used to it. So format, data, number, and you could, there's a lot of different ways. I could show you like crazy ways to do pricing. I could show you simple ways to do pricing. You don't have to get crazy. I'm just going to show you very simple. So let's go here. Let's go format. Let's go format, view, freeze, one row. Then I'm going to turn on create filter. Okay, cool. So here we go. A to Z. So there's all the small to the big. All I'm going to do is just take I'll do median today just so nobody yells at me again.
They're getting serious in Discord about
You were
that.
like all upset. I'm like, relax, guys. It's like nothing. You guys think it's like we're not like splitting atoms here. We're pricing the market,
Pricing vacant land.
Yeah. So median, take this. I just select ranges and I kind of look at the stuff. If I have a ton of comps, I'll split it in half. So I'll go to like 5 to just under 7. And then I'll go like 7 median, 7 to, just under 10. And then I'll go like equals median 10 to, so I don't have a lot in that 10 acre range. So I'm just going to go the whole range. Equals median. So you get the gist of it. That's pretty much what you're going to do. You're going to go up to like 25. Let's go up to 30. Okay, cool. So there you go. So I now have my pricing right here. So I have 8,600, 7,500. See, I got a high right here. So let's delete this guy. So I just deleted that, and I'm going to probably delete.
And he's deleting those because those are outliers, right? Yeah. Those are numbers that are kind of one-offs, and we want to make sure we don't put that into our pricing.
Exactly. So I want to delete my high outliers because they're high for a reason. I mean, if I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to sit here and like go through all these, but quick assessment, just remove my high outliers and see how to adjust my pricing. Because now it took the high, the low, and now my median, my band for my median kind of shrunk, right? So super simple. There's my pricing. That's pretty much it. Now what I'm going to do is like go here. Obviously, I'm going to go way deeper into this and all that stuff, but super high level. This is what you do. Okay. See, this is 23,000 and that's it. You could set up a template sheet, which I have. Then when you input this stuff, automatically like does this. It automatically has your high outliers, your low outliers, it highlights them and everything. It's super easy once you figure out a template, and then you just download your data, copy, paste, boom, done. Easy. This is like all steps that could be automated. So really cool. Okay, so once you have that figured out, like then you just take that, take your scrub data, overlay the two, you're done. And then that's going to give you your market value. Okay. Then you take your market value and then multiply it by like 0.55 or whatever you're going to do. If you're going to do ranges, like, hey, what's your range? What do you typically do?
I have different ranges. So if it is under $100,000 in market value, I'll price a range of from 35% to 50%. And then if it's between $100,000 to $300,000 in market value, I'll price it 40 to 60%. And then if it's over 300K, I do 45% to 65%. And that I tweak that a little bit per market or per area, but that's kind of like a general rule that we plan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And if you're just going to go mail this, I would say like, depending on the price, I kind of do something similar. So anything below market value of like 50 grand, I'm pricing it at 35% of market. And then it goes up from there. And I kind of stagger my way up. Top of market, $400,000 market price. I'm typically presenting an offer around like 65 to 70%, around that. So, and ranges in between that. So,
and you want to
I don't have a template like that's just I don't share templates like that. That's stuff you could just create. It's super easy once you start getting like into learning this stuff. So
yeah, and the more competitive a market is, and the larger the value of it is, you can tiptoe into 75%, maybe even 80%, because there's a lot of spread there, especially if you're double
yeah.
closing. There is a lot of spread there. And that price point is going to let you stand out to your to the seller. So just make sure when you're mailing that kind of stuff, you've kind of done a little bit of homework in the background to make sure that you have your partners aligned to be able to like fulfill that, fulfill and close it, fulfill that deal. Yeah. A lot of times I hear from sellers that, they get offers this and the third, and they can't bring it across the finish line, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
I know some guys too, like some land companies, they're just mailing like 80% offers to everything and just trying to double close and make like $5,000 spread in between.
I mean, that's a lot of work for $5,000, because I'm not gonna lie, double closes is a balancing act, because you're balancing, the seller, whatever you're doing in between. Then you have the buyer that comes along, then you have their agent that comes along, then you have the closing attorney. It's a lot of moving parts. Double closes are great, but like I think you need to have a little experience. You need to have your team, with you for the double close. When I say team, I'm talking know your title people, right? You need to know who's going to be your transaction coordinator on that. Understand that you know what they're looking for in a deal, what makes sense for them to touch it, all of that stuff. But yeah, double closes are great. We're going to talk in depth about that next week, and we're even going to bring on a transactional funder on the call with us, so he can explain to you guys, from his point of view. He wants to do these deals all day long, kind of what you kind of need to bring to the table, what you need to have lined up. Because if you know that ahead of time, you can kind of like work your deal, right, in the way that's going to work for the for funding and everything to go through smoothly. Dennis, I know 2 people want to join for the Q&A. I did, before we start that, want to just quickly go over the mail template. We're running out of time, so I'll just go over really quick.
You do that, and then yeah, go ahead. I'm going to answer some questions on the side.
Perfect. Yes. Because I'm not seeing the questions for some reason. Like I have to look on my phone. I'm not seeing them in the.
Oh, you don't see the comments? You might have it like turned off or something like that. You could minimize that window.
Just challenged over here today. It's all right. All right. Let me pull this up here.
Okay.
All right. So we're just gonna go over a range letter that I've used. Let's exit this. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna present. Entire screen.
AJ, you're asking about scrubbing. So I pretty much like when I scrub a list, it's probably like I'm left over with 25-30% of the list. Like ridiculous. How about you, Kay, when you scrub?
Oh yeah. That's about right. Yeah. And you're saving, I look at it like you're saving money. Like
every bad property scrubbed out is just money you're saving.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
If you share, out of the stage, you're good to go.
Okay. All right.
Good.
How do I edit the stage? Okay.
I did it.
You did. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. need a little assistance here and there, Struggle bus Wednesday. All right. So this is just a template that I've used, that I've created, and I want to just go over it really quickly. You're going to create your own template that works for you. So I'm just going to go over some of the high level points that I think will help your direct mail convert. When I think about direct mail, I think about it like, have you ever met someone and like you either love them and you're like, I think I just met my new best friend, right? Like I really like them. Or you meet them and you're like, keep me away from them. Like they just felt creepy. I didn't like that person. I'll be happy if I never see them again in my life, right? And then you have that person that's so plain vanilla that if you saw them in 20 minutes, you wouldn't even recognize them. You wouldn't know you met them 20 minutes ago, right?
Yep.
marketing is kind of the same, right? Because you have those feelings, you don't exactly know why, right? You can't articulate exactly why, but it's, it's their mannerisms, how they spoke to you, how they approached you, how they walked up, right? And that all creates a certain feeling. And I think mail and marketing does the same thing, right? You're going to grab stuff from the mailbox and you're going to throw it away because it looks spammy, right? You're going to have stuff that sits around the house that you don't open, right, forever. And then you're going to have that mail that makes you curious, right? And it doesn't quite look like a bill. So you're going to open it. And what I hear from most of our sellers, the biggest thing that I hear from them is that they feel like we are legit, right?
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they can trust us. And I think that is what is missing. And I didn't have enough time, but I meant to pull up some of the direct mail marketing that banks and car dealerships and, political campaigns, all kind of different industries, kind of the direct mail that they're sending, and how awesome it is, right? How much money they put into it. And if they're doing that, it works. They're not just throwing money away, right? So when I hear people say direct mail doesn't work, it's you haven't figured out how to make it work for you. Is what it comes down to be honest with you. So once you figured out, where you're going to market and you understand market selection and you kind of understand pricing, because I know that can be confusing. The next thing you need to do is say, okay, what do I want my mail to look like? Do I want to do postcards? I'm personally against postcards because I know I throw postcards away. They say they got 100% open rate, obviously, right? Because you don't have to open them. But I when I look at postcards, I think of junk mail. I throw it away, to be honest with you. So I don't do postcards. I've never done postcards. I'm pretty sure they work for someone, but I don't do postcards. I've always done color in my letter from the beginning. One thing I want to speak about it is the return address here. I think it's so important to have an address that if a seller Googles it, like you come up, right? Like you should have some kind of presence online, because if someone doesn't have an idea of who you are, they're going to create their own idea of who you are. And typically when you're sending someone a piece of mail that says, I'm going to buy your land for $75,000, it seems scammy. It does. So what your job is in marketing is to make sure that you're coming across to that seller in a trustworthy manner. And if you have a iPostal or a PO box return address where it says PMB Suite XYZ, that just doesn't feel legitimate business, right? It feels like you got a PO box, right? And you've been open in business for a month. Nobody wants to deal with someone like that. So I think on the return address, make sure that you have you can use a Regis address. You can use a virtual address. Use a boutique virtual address company. They're all over in every state. And you're going to have legitimate other businesses in those buildings. I'm working in one right now, and there's construction companies in here. I think Amazon has an office in here. There's other real estate companies in here. Law firms are in here. So they're not the cheapest, right? But they are going to give you that real, trustworthy, legitimate brick and mortar feeling of a business. You can get it Google verified, right? So you can get your Google address online. And nothing speaks legit like 5-star Google reviews, right? From people. So number one, you have to come across legit with your business. And to do that, it's going to start off with that return address, right? Get that goes along with your address, your website address, your email address. Don't use a Google or a Yahoo or a Hotmail or Outlook. Get your domain from GoDaddy, right? And make sure it all matches across the board with your company name. That's really important, because these are things that you are going to put in your letter. If you look on this first page of my letter, at the bottom, I have my email address. We have the physical address. We have the phone number. You can Google any one of those things individually, and we're going to come up in a positive light, right? So if you do not create a narrative for your seller or for the stranger that's looking at your business, they're going to create a negative narrative for you. So do yourself a favor and create a positive positive narrative for yourself ahead of time. So these are merge fields. If anybody does direct mail, Rocket Print, you know what they are. And this is just simple stuff, the address of who it's going to. You want to put the state, the county. I was just listening to Callan Faulkner, and she was talking, she's huge in AI, and she was talking about how she customizes her marketing with AI to put the city, the nearest airport, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not that advanced, but I do now add the state, the city name in it. So I put the state, the county, the city, the acreage range, the APN, a parcel number. You can even get fancy and put the legal description. Anything that's in that big ass data sheet that we have, you can easily with a click put in your letter, right? So you can do that. The reference code is huge. That it gets generated out of Pebble. That allows us to house all of that data that's in that spreadsheet. It's housed very nicely in Pebble. So when a customer calls in, they're going to give us reference code 123. My acquisition manager is able to just put that in Pebble, and it brings up everything we need to know about that parcel that we've put from our data source. Even the comping link, which makes life so easy. And then we put our purchase range in here. So we put, you know, if it's $100,000 property, we'll put the range in here so they can see that. We don't use the word cash anymore in our letter. This is a little bit older one, but I just want to bring this on screen to give you guys an example of what a good letter kind of looks like. We let them know, we frame the customer and let them know when you call, you're going to speak to Kay or you're going to speak to Candace, right? A lot of people, this may be their first real estate transaction. So the more guidance you can give them ahead of time, it's going to make them feel comfortable if they know what to expect when they're working with you, right?
Can I just say one thing too? Like the way you have those three green spots, like those are attention grabbers, right?
Yes.
So what that does is when somebody gets their letter, those are the first things you look at. You don't look at anything else. Like realistically, the first thing I see is cash offer, simple, fast, hassle-free. Boom.
Yep.
Then the next thing is like the bottom, you see K and like the whole thing she's got there. Like it just stands out. And then you've already gone past the 10 seconds that you need for them to like be interested. And then now they're searching for the offer. They're looking for all the other stuff.
Yep.
So
exactly.
if you put your offer big front and center, they'll just look at it and throw it away. They know nothing else about your offer, nothing about you, nothing about your business. They just throw it away because they're like another freaking offer, whatever. Yep. But when you look at this stands out. This kind of paints a different picture. You know?
Yep. And you can put anything you want down here. This is just a little about me and a picture of me. Whatever you're comfortable with. When I think of marketing, I think of 2 R's. And the first one being, will they remember me? Do something that's going to make them remember you. Whether it's a picture of your 2 dogs, maybe you with some weird pants on, whatever you feel comfortable, make them remember you. In this industry, to be honest, there are a lot of white males that dominate it in house wholesaling too, right? So I know for me, I'm going to stand out because we're a 100% woman-owned business that is in there. We let them know that. And I'm a Black female. That's not something you see every day in this business, right? So I'm comfortable enough to put my face on there because I want them to remember me, right? And if they want to throw my letter away, that's fine too. It's probably somebody I didn't want to work with anyway. So something that's going to make them remember you. And then something that's going to make them resonate with you. If you are a veteran, right? Say that you're a veteran-owned business. That may resonate with someone. Me saying I'm a woman-owned business, that may resonate with somebody, right? Anything that you're comfortable personally sharing about yourself, put it into your marketing. You're selling yourself at the end of the day, right? So, and this is page 2 here. Again, kind of guiding the customer through what to expect on day 1 and day 2 and day 3, kind of how you do things. And so they know the process, your process for your particular business, right? We've since updated this, but this just gives you an idea of letting the customer know, like, this is what's going to happen once you call us, right? You're going to call us, and then we need to do our due diligence. And in this due diligence period, I love ranges because they know in a couple of days, we're going to call them back and we're going to give them 2 prices, right? We're going to give them the double close price, and then we're going to give them the quick close price. We don't exactly call it that. And we explain both to them, right? And they understand that because we've already framed them right? To know like this price you see in the letter is a range, and we're gonna give you some offers. I'm gonna tell you why. And a lot of times, like Dennis knows, people are really in a rush because they've had this land for a very long time. So they're okay saying, 90 days, that's fine, and we're telling them, hey, we're doing all the stuff you don't want to do. You're not getting perk tests done. You're not going to clear the land. You're not adding a gravel driveway. You're not going to pay for drone photos. Like, we're going to come in, we're going to do all this stuff. We're going to pay out of pocket for all of that stuff so we can get top dollar for it, right? And we're going to get compensated for it. And we're going to give you your number. Being honest and explaining that value add proposition goes a long way in getting people to say yes to double closes. And it takes the icky away from it. It takes the cringiness away from it too. We have a lot of our sellers that, we'll tell them when we get an offer and we have a closing date because now we got a buyer, right? And they're cool long as they're getting their number, so it makes those transactions a little bit easier. And then we have a frequently asked questions thing, and this updates all the time. We change this all the time based on the feedback we get from our customers. And it just kind of tells them like what can hold up a closing, what determines the price of my land. And so this frames them to understand like, look, if your land is in a floodplain, right, if it has wetlands or it doesn't have access, that's going to bring the price down. But if it has these things, it may bring your price up. And that, again, is framing your customer in your marketing material. So when you throw those offers at them, they're aware of like, yeah, I did read that. Yeah, she did say if it didn't have access, it's going to be lower, So we have 10 minutes left. And I want to make sure we get folks in to answer questions and all that stuff. So I'm going to hand the mic back to you, Dennis.
You got it. All right. So we got... Hey there. What's up? Who do we have? It says NJ.
MJ, what's going on?
Driving. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what question do you have for us?
I really don't have any questions right now.
Okay.
So I really just jumped on just to see. I thought y'all had like some kind of training program or something like that, or coaching program.
Yeah,
so that's what I was looking for information for, and I thought this would have something to do with that.
If you go down at the bottom, there's links.
Do y'all have a coaching program?
Yeah, if you go down at the bottom, there's links for LIA and everything like that. It's all down below. You should be able to see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I guess you can't hear me. Yeah.
MJ, but we'll send you some information on that in Discord.
Yep. All right. Hey, Keon, what's up? Can't hear you. You're muted.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Can you hear me now?
Yep, got
there
you.
We go.
Okay, awesome. Nice to meet you both. I think before I get started, I just want to say I really appreciate the time that you guys take week after week to add value to the land community. I've learned a ton since I've gotten started.
That's great. That's great to hear.
Absolutely. But I think a question that I did have, I think very high level, right? Market selection and marketing, like that's table stakes to get started in this industry. But I think something that isn't talked about more is like the sales process and like, okay, once a lead enters your CRM, what does a good acquisition funnel look like for you guys, right? So like, how are you prioritizing these leads? How many touch points do you have? What's the speed to lead expectations? Like, hey, I think you said your acquisition manager is Candace, and I'm not sure, Dennis, who your acquisition manager is, but like, what are some of the expectations that like you guys require in order to get a deal across the finish line once it hits the CRM?
Sure. I'll go real quick and then I'll let Kay go. So what I do in mine, I have AnswerForce set up. AnswerForce is my answering service. They take all my calls and everything like that because I don't like being unprepared when a call comes in. I'm not sitting in front of a computer all day. So AnswerForce takes the call. They grab any information from the lead. Hey, what's your mailer ID? What's your this? What's your that? Basic stuff, right? And then they ask, hey, would you like to set up a free property consultation with Dennis or Tyler, whoever's the acquisitions manager? And they go, okay, it's a yes or no question. If they say yes, they schedule a consultation. They go in, they select, okay, we have availability today, tomorrow, blah, 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 whatever. These are the time slots. Which time would you want? They pick a time. They get a calendar invite, all that stuff. And now they know I'm calling, like I have a call at 3:30 today, right? And 7 minutes. So they know I'm going to be calling them. You know what I mean? So it smooths that out. So they're not wondering when a call is going to come in, all that stuff. If they don't select it, what I do is I'll send them an initial text right away. As soon as Answer Force gets, the lead in, we'll send an initial text. Hey, this is Dennis, just touching base with you. We got your call. We're going to take a look at your property real quick. We'll call you back within 60 minutes or something like that. Answer Force does set the expectation that we'll call back within 24 to 48 hours. The only reason why they do that is if they call on a Friday night or something like that, and we can't answer on the weekend or something like that, if we can't get to it, it just sets the expectation that that's the maximum, but they're, within 24 to 48 hours, basically we're going to call soon. So I like to get to them within 60 minutes. And then when that call actually goes through, I'm trying to lock that lead up, right? So before I call this seller, I've already looked at the property, ran my comps, make sure we're good, right? So my due diligence, my quick high level due diligence is done. And then boom, hop on the phone, talk to that seller, find out what's going on. Okay, great. You called in. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, you have property in Utah. You're looking to sell. Awesome. Okay. Yep, we sent you a mailer for $70,000. And you got any questions about that? Nope. Everything looks good. Okay, cool. How about this? I'm good with the property. Everything looks great. You own it. You're the owner on title. Awesome. Great. All right, let's send the contract over and we'll start our full due diligence process. That's pretty much it. That's what I shoot for, right? I try to get that initial first call is like, can we come to an agreement on price and then send the contract? If there's any like hesitations, wetlands, bad property, X, Y, and Z, I get on the call and I'm like, hey, took a look at your property. We've noticed this, this, and this. I just got to dig around a little bit. Give me 24 hours. I'll call you back tomorrow. We'll touch base again. And then I'll basically go through, look at all the little things, find out what I could actually pay for it, call back tomorrow and just say, hey, looks like we could do this. We sent you an offer for 70. Unfortunately, we noticed there's an easement coming through. Sometimes we don't get everything right. Sometimes we do. Unfortunately, this is ones we didn't get right. So we're going to have to come down. Doesn't mean we can't buy the property. It just means we have to change the terms. So we come down, drop it to like 50K. Okay, that doesn't work. All right, let's do 70,000 as a double close. I don't say double close, whatever. And that's pretty much it. Very like I find it so funny that people go through all these like hoops and games and everything like that. And like all this stuff when you're sending a blind mailer. The seller already raised their hand, said, I want to sell to you, Kay Walker. I want to sell to you right now. And then you're like, okay, let's find out what their dog's name is. Like you don't really need that stuff necessarily. Like I would work on like, okay, everything good. You're good with the price. I'm good with the price. Nothing's wrong with the property. Let's move forward. Right? Because at the end of the day, that's what the seller wants. So that's mine. I know people have other ones. Some people are like hour and a half on the phones. It's just a wasting your time, man. Get a little 20-minute timer, boom, one of these little things, and then set it and make sure you finish your calls in 20 minutes. That's
I need a timer for myself. Dennis, you gonna take your 3:30 call live with us?
I could, yeah. Yeah, why not? I'll do it. I don't care.
Really? You are amazing.
I don't care.
So we answer the phone live. And they know they're going to speak to Candace or me. They're 90% of the time going to speak to Candace, and she has some questions that she asked. And like Dennis said, it depends on the channel, right? The marketing channel. With direct mail, they're warm leads. So they've raised their hand and said, hey, I'm good with your price. I want to sell. And so they're warmer. So the sales skill and the sales time is a lot less, right? With direct mail. So when we get our calls come in, Candace answers them. She asks a certain amount of questions like, hey, you go with the range in a personable way. And she asked a little about the land, like utilities, have you, access, kind of just some general questions. And we get as much out of them as, they're going to tell us. She puts that lead into Pebble for me and she tags me and we let the customer know like, hey, in 1 to 3 business days, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of due diligence and give you an offer. Within like 24 hours, typically, if we're not like super, super busy, she'll put on my calendar, so I'm aware of it, that she's calling a customer like at 2 p.m., right, tomorrow. So I know that I need to have that comp into her by 2 p.m. I do the comp. I put it into Pebble, so everything is documented in there. And it's pretty quick to come up with the price ranges. And then we send 2 options. We say, this is a quicker option for you. You know, we can close in 14 business days, and this is the price. And then we offer a 90-day close due diligence, which is a lot more money, and they typically tend to lean towards that. And our time from when a seller calls in to a signed contract, we do it pretty fast, where we're talking 5 to 10 days, business days. We're talking, because they're warm already. There's like, they just want to call and just need somebody to hold their hand to walk them through the deal, basically,
Yes.
at the end of the day. So, yeah. So,
Yep.
I hope that answers your question.
No, absolutely. That was very helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah. It's really not as hard as a lot of people think it is. It's more or less just like, there are times where building rapport is so important, but there's also times where it's like, you don't necessarily need it, right? I actually think it's really important to just find out grassroots where they want to be, price range, price, whatever the case may be. Find out exactly what they need. What problem are you going to solve for them? And once you can figure out what the problem you're going to solve for them is, then it just becomes an easy transaction, right? Because if you know it's money, it's this, it's timeline, it's whatever the case may be, just solve that problem and you got them in your pocket. It's really easy. So let's do this call live. I'm going to do it. So let's see. Deals.
You had a question. That was your question. Okay. That was your question. Sorry, I was thinking of someone else who DM'd me something about South Carolina being illegal or illegal to double close.
Yeah.
It is illegal.
It is illegal, yeah.
There are ways around it, but in general, it is illegal, and closing attorneys are not going to lose their license over closing a deal for you.
Nah. All right, I'm calling. Radio silence. Let's see. Call. The heck?
Hello.
Hey, Herbert. This is Dennis with Cash for Land. How are you today?
Fine, thanks. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So I got your request in. You called into our office. So it looks like you own the parcel in Utah, right?
Yes, my wife owns 2 parcels, 68 and 67.
Oh, okay, great. Okay.
Now,
Are you
mentioned 68, right?
Yeah, I think we sent you an offer on 68, but we'd be interested in both of them. I'm actually looking at it right now. So it looks like 67. It looks like 68 is pretty flat, but 67 kind of goes up a little bit. Am I correct in that?
No, I don't think that's accurate. I think they all go. The 67 has a building pad, but both lots are on a gradual incline up.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Nice. Okay.
Now 68 is the upper lot, right? Because I didn't look at the parcel map.
No, 68 is the lower lot.
Oh, it's the lower lot.
Yes.
Okay, so that answers one of the questions. The 67, so the numbers go down as they go up. That's weird.
I'm sorry. What do you mean? The number? Oh, yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, the numbers go down as they go. Oh, yeah, down the street. You would think they would go up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. So tell me a little bit about that.
That explains why on the flats the numbers are higher, even though that's east Bailey Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, let me just explain. 67 has a building pad and a driveway that we built that accessing from Bailey Lane.
Okay.
But the reason I asked you about 68 is because we're interested in selling both, because unless something's changed in the last 5 years, I don't know. I'm looking at the satellite map. I haven't been up there.
Mm-hmm.
There was no access to 67.
Okay, the one further in. Okay.
The one that's further up the incline.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's kind of like a package deal kind of thing.
Yeah. In fact, if you go on the internet,
Sure.
one of the realtors listed as a 10-acre lot.
Okay. Oh, you had this listed already?
No, we had it listed years ago, but we're not through that realtor. But somebody thinks that both need to be sold at once. See, we bought both lots from the same owner. He was going to build a house on the upper lot, so he changed his mind, and we bought both lots 15 years ago from the previous owner.
Okay. Nice. All right.
So
And
I don't know what your offer would be for both lots. That's the question I had.
okay, I could take a look at it. As far as everything goes, are there utilities and stuff like that there, or
They're utilities.
okay? So, power, water, gas. What's there?
There's also a what do you call it when you have a sewage underground?
Septic.
Yes, there's a septic field.
Okay, so you have a septic already. So that means you have a septic permit already. Do you know what that was kind of prepped for? What size house?
I don't. I could find out, but I don't know exactly.
No worries.
We were going to build a house to like 2,000 square feet, so I'm sure it was at least that.
What do you know if it was like a 2-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 3-bath, something like that? That's usually what they go by.
We got kids on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay, got you. So that's probably what you're.
That's years ago.
Okay, no worries with that.
And we also have the telephone line that's hooked up there.
Oh, okay, nice. So you have pretty much everything. So it's almost like a site-ready property. You could build on it, and you're good to go.
Yeah, the only thing that would need to be done, because we haven't been up there in a few years, is I'm sure the driveway is overgrown and would have to be cleared out, cleaned up. That's all.
Okay, cool. I'll take a look at the second one. I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same lot. It's just
the same lot. It's very private.
Yeah, I love it.
But you ought to check the parcel current Google Earth thing if you're not going to go there, because I saw something weird. It was hard for me to tell from the satellite view, and I looked on the internet last night, that somebody may have built some sort of driveway or easement above the above lot. So there may in fact be egress from both lots. I'm not sure.
Possibly, I'd have to take a look at that. What they're coming off of, like Lazarus over there, behind there, and coming around, kind of thing.
No, Bailey. If you look at the satellite, if you look at the map, you'll see something that looks like an easement or an underground something.
Okay.
That runs from Bailey Lane to the middle of towards Lazarus.
Gotcha. I see what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, it looks like, but that kind of part kind of goes up on the mountain, so I'm not sure we would access it. So I'd say probably like if we only bought the one, then the other one would pretty much be landlocked, right? So it wouldn't make sense to just buy the one. It only makes sense to buy both. So
it makes sense for us to sell both.
Exactly. Okay.
That's why we bought both, because it ensures privacy too in the view. I don't know if you've been there. But
no, I have not. No, my partner lives out there.
Spectacular, and the lot that's below us, you can't even really see the house.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. I'll have to take a look at the pricing and stuff like that for the second one, because it is a little bit of a different lot. The other one's a little bit better because it's on the road and everything like that. But if you had an idea in mind of price for the two, do you have something in mind, or kind of what you're looking to get?
Well, we're interested in selling because we're not going to be building there, and my wife wants to research it a little bit. But if you give me a rough idea of what you're thinking, we'll take that into account before we find on the internet.
Okay. Yeah, because what I would do is I'd be able to buy both. It would just be the first lot would be probably, I think we sent you a mailer price around 200,000.
212, I think.
Yeah, 212, right?
You don't have to separate. You can just make a package offer for both lots.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. So
if you want to allocate it for tax purposes or some other reason, I'm sure if you wanted to, I don't know what your purpose in buying the land is, whether you want to build a house on there or it's for investment, long-term investment. But I'm sure you could combine both lots if you needed to.
Yeah, we would definitely buy both. It doesn't make sense to buy just one. For this type of property, what we're going to most likely do with this is probably work with the builder and get a home site built out there. And that second lot really doesn't have much value because you really can't, unless they put an easement and all that stuff, that's just going to be somebody's backyard, more than most likely. So what I would say is like we're really bidding on just the one lot as our main lot that we would actually do something with.
Well, actually, I think it would be somebody's front yard.
Front yard. Okay. I see what you mean.
Maybe looking down on you.
Yeah. Okay. I'd have to see kind of like how it all lays out, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. So you could build the house up top and look down kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can also build the building pad in above.
Okay. Yeah,
The
it's very
septic
true.
field, the septic field is on lot 68.
Okay. Okay.
It's right below the building. The septic field is right below the building pad.
Okay, cool. All right. So I'll take a look at it and run my numbers and all that stuff. If I were to come back around like, like 312, 315 for this, what do you think about that?
I think that would probably be doable or very close to doable.
Okay.
My wife is my boss, and she'll make the final decision.
Okay, good. Yeah. So next time what we'll do is we'll all hop on the call together. This way we could just hash out any details right then and there. And we'll kind of take it from there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to run my numbers for the 2 lots, talk to my builders and stuff like that. See what we could do. I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. Can you try to see what the septic permit was for? If you could find that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure it must be on the county records.
Yeah, you might even have it somewhere stashed in a folder. Check with the boss. She
might.
might have it.
Yeah. You can also call the guy who did the work.
Yeah, he would definitely have it. So,
Yeah.
Cool. So what I'll do is I'll follow up with you tomorrow around the same time. Does that work for you?
What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
No, I have an appointment at noon my time. So could we do it? You're east. What are you? Eastern time?
I'm on the East Coast. Yeah, my partner is
Can we
in
do-
Utah. So
Can we do either an hour earlier or no? That wouldn't work. Can we do it 4:30 Eastern?
yeah, we could do. You want to do 4:30 Eastern? That's fine with me.
Yeah, that's 1:30 my time.
Yeah, let's do that. That's perfect.
All
right.
right. So you'll call me with my number, right?
Yeah, I'll shoot you a text first so you have my information. So I'm going to call, and then I'll call you like 5 minutes later.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Talk soon.
to you tomorrow.
All right, appreciate it, man. You have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
That's it.
Nice.
Yeah. So this one, so Utah is really tough to get comps. So, well, part of why we do it now, 5-acre lots are selling for like 357. Now this is 2 5-acre lots that I'm getting. So if I could snag this one and this one, that's almost 10 acres. So this one right here is listed at 357 and tons of views, everything like that. But we'd have to see, because I already have a septic, all that stuff installed, I could probably dispo this for like 600 pretty quickly.
Do we have sound effects that we can do? Because we need like a
yeah.
That's what we need, because that's what that was.
Yeah, I don't know, can I do it? Yeah, right. Feeding the ducks. Yeah, that's all I got.
No, that's nice. Yeah, congrats on that, Dennis.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not sold on it. I got to talk to a realtor, but why not? If I could buy both for I threw them at 315. That's probably my MAO. I'd probably come back and be like, hey, we did our due diligence. We're probably going to be around 285, 290, and just see what he says. And then pick that up cash, and then we'll take that. We'll probably list that around 6, I'd say, and then just see what happens. We have so much room there. I mean, if we pick it up for 295 for 2 lots, it's like 300K. So I could drop down. I could even sell it for 400 and make $100,000. And that's still amazing. So
and it perks, like that's
obviously
easy.
Exactly. So so you see, like Keenan, that's like kind of what I'll try to frame my calls as, just very like casual, nothing like salesy. I'm not like this and that, whatever. I just try to have a conversation with the seller, talk to them about what their needs are, find out kind of price point they want, because I can't get in their head, right? So I want to find out what they're at. And they'll kind of sometimes give me a price point. And he even said it. He's like, my wife is the boss. So what did I say? I said, okay, well, let's do this. Next time, let's all of us get on a call together. One thing I also like doing, I like engaging my sellers by giving them homework. Okay. So my homework for him specifically was go find out about that septic permit. It could be like nothing. You can give them like the most basic homework, but it's a really good like litmus test to see if they're actually going to like do the things they need to do to get this thing across the finish line, right? So if you give them like little homework, like, hey, can you just do me a favor? Can you look for the mailer I sent you? Can you do this? Can you do whatever the case may be? Anything. If they actually do their homework, then they're probably going to be pretty amicable throughout the rest of the transaction. So
now, was this the first touch from you, Dennis, from them calling in?
yeah,
And that was from mail, right?
that was mail. They called in. Let me see. Herbie. What was his last name?
And I don't think he expects much for the second lot. I looked at the topo on it.
Yeah.
It's usable, but it's like,
Nah.
yeah, it's quite sloped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he called in yesterday at about this time. So, but he scheduled a call with me. So he knew exactly when I was calling back. And Calendly is awesome. You actually don't need Calendly. You could do this all on Google Calendar, like Google Calendar. You could set a link and stuff like that and have people call you back on that link. And then, you know, whoever your call service is, they could just book those links, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So this guy knew what time I was calling because he got like text alerts, email reminders, all that stuff when the call was going to happen. I have like all this stuff. And then what I also have is after the call, I have a another link that goes out like, hey, do you want to schedule a follow-up call? So to go out as soon as we hang up and like, or after, not after we hang up, but after the appointment ends, 1 hour after the appointment ends, there's an email and then there's a text that go out and then touch base again with them. That's it. So super easy automation with Calendly. It takes nothing to do and it works.
That's great. I think that's great. That was a great warm lead. Like you didn't have to turn on the Zig Ziglar sales at all. Like that's somebody like you open the door, they're walking through. Like it's just, yeah. So that's
they're not
great.
all that easy. Don't.
No, they're not all that easy.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of lead I think you get with Mel, which I appreciate. Yeah.
So if this was a cold call lead, that would probably be 10 to 20 follow-ups before there'd be a bunch of follow-ups just to get to the point of pricing. And then they have to sit on it. Then they have to think of if they actually want to sell. Then there's this whole thing. This guy got a letter. He's probably I mailed him 425 is when the mail went out. Okay. So a month later, 425 was when the mail ID was created and then sent to Rocket Print. So 30 days later.
To that. Yeah. So not even 30 days. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm really glad that you pointed out that if it was a cold call, that would have been a much different thing, because I had been sending out mail and I'm continuing to send out mail now. But my day job, I'm an SDR. So I kind of live, breathe, sleep like outbound and cold calling and stuff. So I was like, why don't I use a skill set that I already know how to do, being on the phones? But yeah, it's just, that was a much warmer inbound lead versus like what I deal with cold calling. It's like, got to keep following up. So
yeah,
that's good to hear.
Cold calling, you will get deals, but it is going to take you a longer follow-up sequence because they are cold. Think about it. You know, like it is a outbound lead, right?
Yeah.
So you have to now convince them that you're real, this and that, all that stuff. So the thing about mail, highest trust, highest cost, easiest acquisition, realistically. So yeah, it costs more. You're going to also make the biggest spreads with mail for the most part because it's the highest trust. Texting, cold calling, things like that, they have an insane KPIs and ROAS. And the reason why they have that is because their cost is so cheap. But you're in a volume game then. Me personally, I would so much rather do like 20 deals a year or 10 deals a year that make 200 grand, 100 grand. That would be like all day long, right? Rather than doing 60 or 100 deals that are 5 or 10,000. You know what I mean? It's like the headache. I don't want the headache.
Depends on where you're at, I think, in life.
Totally.
It's cheaper, right? It's cheaper to text and call. But you got to think of the manpower, right, that you need to hire for having those kind of teams, and the training and the coaching and the call reviews. And, you know, you can make $1 million a year doing in this business with like a one-man show. like with mail, to be completely honest with you. With text and with cold calling, it's a little bit, you need some more team players to manage that, to manage those incoming leads. But you can make a bunch of money off of either. It just depends on how you want your life set up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend who just started cold calling 2 months ago, and he's already booked almost like $400,000 in pipeline.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Crazy, but he's crushing it, which is awesome. But everybody's different. Like other people might not have that same result.
Yeah. Me 10 years ago, maybe I'd do that, but I'm like, yeah, they ain't trying to do that right now.
I know another guy that's all he does. He doesn't send a single piece of mail. All he does is picks highly targeted subdivide properties and cold calls. That's it. Doesn't do anything else. Nothing. He just picks his very few properties, calls like 20 people a day, and that's his business. I mean, he's got teams behind him and all that stuff, but like it's very like focused, I guess you could say. Right.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the beauty of this business.
But he also he's been doing land for, I don't know, 5-10 years. So like he understands it. So then he realized like, I just don't want to do the volume game. I want to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah. Awesome. What else we got? Any questions?
No more questions for me. I think one question I did have, I've kind of really studied both of you guys' journey. And one question that I would say is, what do you think are you guys' biggest differentiators? I think what you guys both have in common is that very early in your land investing journey, and you both seen success very quickly. So like, what do you feel like you've done and continue to do better than other land investors that allow you to see success?
So I'll say the success I do have. So you might have seen it as like I had success early, but realistically, it was also like 8 months prior to that until I got into LIA and started learning the right way. So I went through the texting, the mailing, all this stuff. I did all this stuff wrong. And then finally I started talking to Sumner, got into LIA, did everything. That's when it took off. That's when I realized what I was doing wrong. So I think, Kay, you kind of have a similar story. You tried it and then you changed your focus and like one thing clicked and that's when it kind of went, right?
Yeah. And in July of last year, I started and I kind of went on my own and picked a county and did the blast of mail. And I think I had a deal from it, but it was like 5,000 mailers. And I got proof of concept from that. Like all I needed was proof of concept. And then I was like all in. I shut down my short-term rental business, which I probably shouldn't have done as quickly, but I did because I needed all my focus to be on this business. One thing I noticed is like, if you're only putting a little bit of time and energy into this, it's going to take you longer to be successful in it. And I know people watch the podcast and the wins in Discord and on Facebook and everything like that. But like behind the scenes with those wins, people are putting in time. Like they are being almost obsessed. I can use the word obsessed with myself, to be completely honest with you, in this business. And that's how I quickly learned, like, let me zero in, let me go a mile deep, let me focus on one channel, right? Because once you, like Dennis was talking about, the guy who just makes 20 calls a week or a day, right? He can do that because he's so knowledgeable. He's been in the business. And I think when things are really hard, it's really quick to say, let me just hire some VAs because like, I don't know how to do pricing and it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. And that's why most people like are not successful, because like soon as it's hard, it's like, let me hire it out, even though I don't know how to do it, right? Or let me not take the time to learn how to do it myself. So I think for me, the biggest thing is like coming into this business, treating it like a business and being obsessed, being consistent too, and just like executing on the fundamentals of the business continuously. Like I will at least say 6 months. I think is the biggest thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard. You have to learn every aspect of the business before you start hiring people too. Like that's what Kay did. And like she sat there and learned every single thing. Like I priced all my mailers, I did all my market selection, I did all my stuff myself. And then I actually brought people in and I had them take over a lot of stuff. And I made a ton of mistakes doing that. And I gave away too much stuff. And then I saw my KPIs plummet. And I'm like, what's going on? And the problem is with this business, it is like a 6-month kind of delay with everything. So like I hand something over, I really don't see the major KPIs coming back for 6 months if we're still closing the deals and all that stuff. So you got to be careful when you pass something off to somebody or do something different. Like take your time with that, right? Pass it off, let them settle in, give them tasks, then boom, then go to the next thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And measuring your KPIs, I think is important. One thing that I do as soon as we get a deal that I loved, right? I'll go back and I'll take a look at that market and I'll take a look. And this is the best thing about Pebble is that like, we know like, okay, this sale came from this campaign, which was out of county, 5 to 10 acres, you know, priced this way with this type of mailer. I know that. So I can go and say, okay, all of our sales from last month or 2 weeks ago, like I looked at our PAs, I think we had 5 PAs signed last week. They all came from a certain type of mailer that I did. And I was like, oh shit, okay, we doubling down on that this week. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know that, right? If you're not tracking it, right? And it may seem like, oh, just a call here, a call there, whatever. Like you got to be able to look back and be like, okay, this is what worked. Double down on this, you know? So I think tracking every little thing is important. It is a headache. Like it's tedious, but it's worth it. It allows you to send just a little bit of mail and make a bunch of money, to be honest with you. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, cool. So next
right.
week we're going to talk about Dispo and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about Dispo, working with agents, things like that. We'll talk
closing,
double closing, all that good stuff. So, and what states you could do it in, what states you can't do it in, why, how to work around it, because there are ways around it. North Carolina, I think, is just doing something now with no wholesaling, right? Is that what they just implemented?
North Carolina's still good.
No, they're
still good right now.
Yeah, I think it's going through soon. I just talked to an attorney the other day, and they were telling me that.
Yeah, so, it might be so, but I mean, that's okay. There's plenty money out there. There's plenty, you know, funders out there. So like,
buy your
deals.
It's not a big deal. Yeah, you just buy your good deals.
Yeah, find good deals, buy them. Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool, awesome. This is awesome. I will see you all next week.
Thank you, Keenan. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. Later, y'all.
Bye.